Hi, I'm Andy Hiram from Envii Garden Products. Early Starter is a product that essentially promotes plant growth at low temperatures, so it really stimulates early and probably also late season growth as well.
I'm an early starter in my home greenhouse, and I had some broad beans, some sweet peas, some cabbage, some lettuce, which had come through and germinated reasonably well. And then I transplanted, and they just sat there, and I thought, well, there's nothing really happening. And I came across the early starter, having spoken to you, and I put the right dilution in, and I gave them 2 or 3 applications, and they were transformed. They really went from looking sick and poorly and suffering to looking fit and healthy plants, which made me very happy.
Yeah, one of the beauties of the product is what happens is it acts like a biostimulant and allows the plant to work at a lot lower temperature and stimulate growth. So normally plants would need a soil temperature around 10 degrees. We're now talking about sort of 6 to 8 degrees, so it really stimulates that early growth. But what's also interesting is it means that you can actually plant earlier in the season to crop earlier, but also you've got the option now to plant later in the season to be cropping later, because you can also use it to protect the plant as you go later into the season. What it does is, the way it helps is the plant's natural reaction to cold.
Right.
What can sometimes happen is when it gets too cold, the plant essentially goes into survival mode and stops growing aerially. And it can also lose and wilt and things like that. So what this does is it actually changes the plant's reaction. So the plant's growth will go into the roots, which will extend the root mass, which will also mean that the plant grows a lot stronger because it gets a lot more nutrients from its root base.
And what I like about it, and I presume this is the fact, I mean, I'm an organic grower, so I'm always reluctant to use anything of a chemical, but this is a natural product, which doesn't then spoil my organic ethos and still gives me the results I expect. Yeah,
it's not certified as organic, but it's not got anything in there that you would class as sort of detrimental GM or anything like that. It's just purely how it acts.
Yeah, and no real nasty chemicals which will build up over a protracted period of time.
No, absolutely not. It's really designed for sort of edible plants, but it can also be used on flowers, so you know, very careful as to what we put in there.
Right.
So it's definitely a product you'd look to use in the future.
It is. It worked well last year, and that's the success. And I said I wasn't aware that after I planted out I could use it again. So, because normally when I plant out my early crops, they're under cloches, and they do suffer. I mean, when they go from the coziness of the greenhouse, even though they've been hardened off, and they will check. So after planting out this in the future, I will use the product, give them a coating of that, and we'll see if they kick on from there. Yeah,
we'd recommend probably doing it every sort of 14 days, just as to top it up and go from there. And it can also be used to help protect against frost, but what we would say is that it won't completely protect against a frost, and you should use blankets or straw and things like that, but what it will do is it will help the plant recover a lot quicker if you do suffer a frost event. So that's another thing to bear in mind.
Oh man, so that seems to meet all my needs, and as I said, it worked in the greenhouse last year, and I look forward to further progress in the next seasons.
Fabulous.
Okay.
For further information on these products, please go to www.bio8.co.uk.